So, some of us might have heard many good benefits of intermittent fasting, that it could help us lose weight, it could help us change our energy. However, it's not always true for everybody. So, I want to be cautious. If you feel burnt out, you're exhausted all the time, you're chronically stressed, it might not be the best for you and it might actually make you more tired. One of the biggest reason it's because when we are actually chronically stressed, we're actually going to add and layer another layer of stress, which is in the form of cortisol in our body when we actually go into hunger. So our body actually sees hunger as a form of stress. So first of all, when our blood sugar is going to be low because we're not eating, it'll actually make us more tired. Just like how some of you, if you go to a restaurant and you wait in line for too long, you actually might get hangry, you might get jittery, you might get headache, you might get brain fog, or you might get really irritated. That's some symptoms of the low blood sugar. And by you actually, if you already body is chronically tired and stressed, by adding that layer, it's just going to add that extra cortisol into your system and make you not feel very good and not actually feel high energy. On the second note to that, when you're actually adding that extra stress into the system, putting that extra hunger, your body actually would think that you're surviving famine. And what it'll change your metabolism in the back end and hold on to fats and make your metabolism even slower. So you might not only feel worse, but you might get a negative effect or the opposite effect where you start retaining weight or you start becoming slower at burning fat. And that's not what you want, right? And finally, sometimes jumping into intermittent fasting without planning and just jumping right into it can also just be really overwhelming for your system. And so it is important to kind of try something else or be mindful and come back to it later on when you've actually been taking care of your body, especially around your fatigue, especially around your energy level, and especially around your blood sugar. So here's some few tips that I usually recommend. Number one, if you're interested in changing the metabolism of your body and start being healthy, start by drinking a big glass of water first thing in the morning. Actually, warm water is better, but just any type of water, not, just plain old water. You can add a little bit lemon, you add a little flavor with like some strawberries or cucumbers, but at least 2 glasses of water, which is 16 ounces, first thing in the morning, actually helps change it helps us burn calorie differently, helps change our metabolism also. It also, if it's a warm glass of water, also helps us flush out toxins and makes our gut move more efficiently. It's called motility. The second thing you can do, it's actually eat more efficiently first thing in the morning, because that's when your cortisol naturally goes up, you're waking up, you're gonna have a long day, especially if you tend to stress out a lot and you have to go from the morning on and you might miss a meal, you might not be able to be consistent in eating or refueling yourself. Getting that first meal in so that you have the fuel for the rest of your body is a great way to actually anchor your nervous system, anchor your metabolism, and make sure that you don't give yourself that extra stress that we talked about. So having more protein, having more fibers, having more fats first thing in the morning, it's a great way because you can add vegetables and fruits and all of that later on in the day. But having a high amount of fats and protein allow for you to set the metabolic tone early on so your body doesn't just have a big jump of blood sugar and then it decreases. And then when it decreases, then your body gets hungry and it wants to go up. And so you end up having a yo-yoing effect throughout the day. So what you want to do is start off with more protein and fat where there's not much carbohydrates so that it doesn't then drop, right? It's a very low up and a very low down. So it's a very smooth sailing throughout the day. And so even if you're missing a meal, even if you're actually taking longer to get to your next meal or your snack, you actually have more of a buffer and you're not going to have as much symptoms. And finally, my other recommendation is if you do love the idea of actually having smaller portions and eating less, it's great to actually do it in the dinner time. There's no limit to making your fasting actually start earlier in the day rather than actually say you are going to fast later into the day. So for you, having a big breakfast, if you tend to get really tired or you get hangry or irritated or low blood sugar, having that nice breakfast with that big glass of water, and then set your tone with smaller meals that have lots of fibers, lots of, healthy proteins and fats throughout the day, and then letting your meal just end earlier, at least 3 hours before you go to bed, or just eating a smaller portion as you're actually slowing down for the day is a great way to practice a little bit of that, the ideas behind fasting. I hope this helps. Feel free to check out my website and follow this channel so that you can get more tips on how to prevent and reverse burnout and have more energy, joy, and balance in your life.